Hi, everybody, and welcome to Connersville Speaks. Tonight we have the three gentlemen who are heavily involved in the basketball program at Connersville High School. On my far right is Brent Duncan, who is athletic director. Next to him is Kerry Brown, the boys coach, and the girls coach, Michael Thompson, is right next to me. Michael and fellows, welcome to tonight's program.
Thank you, Fran.
Thank you.
Michael, you guys have played one game so far. Tell us about the game.
Last Friday, or Saturday actually, we traveled up to Mount Vernon, and traditionally a very tough opponent for us at the start of the year. And I thought we played pretty well overall for our first game. I thought we definitely had our chances to get a win on the road. We were tied at halftime, and then I thought we played a pretty poor third quarter. But we didn't give up. The girls came back, and actually we got down as far as 16 and cut it to 5 with just under a minute to go. So, I think overall I thought we played pretty well, and I saw a lot of good signs, and I think we could have the opportunity to come back and put together a good stretch of wins right here.
Good deal. What did you and the girls learn from that game, you think?
We had too many turnovers. If anyone's ever watched Mount Vernon play, just the size that they have, the matchup zone that they play, and the way they play the lanes, that's in part of some of those turnovers. I thought we had a few just, I'd say maybe hustle turnovers, but we would get a steal, but then we were too anxious to turn it into quick points quickly, and we would turn it right back over. And then, part of that was just some poor decisions. You put all that together, and that adds up. We had 18 turnovers.
Wow.
That's too many for us and the ball handlers we have. And last year we averaged right around 10 or below, and I think that's where we should be at. So, I think we learned something from that, and I hope we learned a little bit about the mental part of the game as well.
You lost 3 girls to graduation. Were those tough holes to fill?
Yeah. You lose a lot of experience there. Caitlin Duvall last year was our only other player that averaged double figures. Christian Gobin did everything. She played good defense. She rebounded. She would get those sneaky 8 to 10 points a game. And so replacing that, and then we had Sierra Navi on the inside defensively. In the end, though, I think in time we will be able to replace it. But it's going to take a little bit of time to get there. And I think that in the end, I think we have the potential to be a better team this year.
You won 14 games and lost 8 last year, I believe. You went to the sectional, and Anderson beat you by 4 points.
Yes. I think we can improve on that.
Sure.
And our goal every year is to compete to win the sectional, and I think we'll be right there again. And I guess on paper you would probably favor Anderson right now because they did not lose too much, and they got a nice move in to replace on the inside of the one player that they did lose. So, I think in the end that we'll be right there competing for it.
Good.
That's what we hope.
You won't be in Connersville Spartan Bowl for a while. You're on the road for 4 straight away games, so you have 3 to go yet before Tuesday, November 27th arrives. Yeah,
road warriors right now. And it's just kind of have fallen that way over the years. It wasn't that way always. Traditionally, we would have had Mount Vernon Friday night and then Arlington at home Saturday night. But we made a schedule change with Arlington, so we lost that game right there. And that's something we're working on. The schedule, we're home a lot in December. We're away in November, so we're trying to get a couple of those switched.
Out, right.
Like, for example, we go to Batesville Tuesday. I already volunteered the following year to go back to Batesville, so we can kind of get that split up a little bit.
Okay.
And we didn't want to have Batesville Tuesday and Franklin County Friday when we go into the new conference, both of those being on the road, in that first year, or being at home.
Yes.
So we got that one switched up.
Good. Kerry, you've got a bowl game facing you coming up Wednesday, Spartan Bowl, Union County, the traditional opener. How's your team look?
Still early. I think today was practice number 11 for us. We're down on the floor practicing right now, and we're doing some good things, and obviously it's early enough in the season. There's still a lot of things that we still need to straighten out and work to improve, but we return a veteran group.
Yes.
We lost 3 kids from last year, so we do return a lot of experience.
I was going to say you had underclassmen that got a lot of playing time last season, and you got some height this year, haven't you?
Well, our biggest kid's 6'4", and he's about that big around, but that's as big as we go. Dakota Carlin, 6'2", Desmond Rent, 6'4". Tyler Parsley plays bigger than he is. He's about 6'1". he's thick and strong. And then Timothy Billups is about 6'1" as well. But he's another kid that's strong, and they're deceptive. They're not as long as you maybe would like to see them, but they play bigger than they really are. Malik Coles is another one of our bigger kids, and he's about 6'2".
Yeah, 6'3", I think Desmond was last year, so he's still growing and
gained an inch. Yeah,
that's great. Well, he got a lot of playing time, so I know that probably the tallest player you've had here at CHS, isn't he?
Yeah, he's right around there. I mean, Zach Hufford was probably 6'4", and that's probably been about as big as we've had, Desmond and Zach. Yeah, and he got some valuable playing time last year. Actually, 2 years ago, Blake Zimmerman played varsity as a sophomore, and Sean Davis has played varsity as a freshman and a sophomore. So, we just hope they draw on those experiences that they had, and that they're going to be better players for us this year, because they've been in those situations before. They've been through the fire, so to speak.
Having some height, will that change your strategy in a game, or?
We want to get easy shots the best way we can, whether it's our 5'10" kid or our 6'4" kid. I still don't think we have a tremendous size advantage over anybody. Most of the time it seems like we take the floor, we're still smaller, but I think sometimes height can be overvalued. It's what that player brings to the court in terms of their determination, their effort, their skill sets. So.
Well, I was impressed with Desmond's play last season.
And he's had a good preseason. I think our team overall has had a good preseason. It's still early, but I like some things I see out of him.
Good. You're playing Union County. What are you expecting from the Patriots?
Well, they've been really good the last 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer than that. I know the 4 years, this will be my 4th year. The 3 years I've been here, they've been really good. But they were hit hard by graduation last year, like we were 2 years ago. So not sure what to expect. I heard they had to move in a guard out of Ohio, and they'll return probably 2 kids that saw a lot of playing time last year. One of them may have been a starter, the other one coming off the bench, and then the move in. So other than that, to the first game, you're not allowed to scout the scrimmage. You just don't know a whole lot about your opponent going into the first game. I think probably more than anything going into the first game, it's about yourself and what you're doing, and making sure you've taken care of the things that you need to do to be successful. And then as the season wears on, you get more opportunities to scout, and you can do a little more scouting report-wise.
Well, I'm sure Coach Detweiler will do that's ready to meet the Spartans, so come Wednesday.
It is a special night. Their kids dribble their basketball over. They bring a great crowd. We have a great crowd.
Yes.
To my knowledge, it's probably the largest crowd of the season. A lot of the kids are home from college, and there's a lot of excitement in the bowl. So it's a great night for basketball. There's people that aren't even affiliated with Union County and Connersville that come to the game just because of the excitement to know that is involved that night.
Well, the bowl will be rocking, I'm sure. It always does. Brent, first year as an athletic director, you've got to be very happy over the fall sports program at CHS, some of the success that these teams have had.
Yeah, it was a tremendous fall season for all of us. We had, you go starting with the boys tennis winning the sectional, and girls cross country won the sectional, advanced all the way to the semi-state as a team. Courtney Phillips, of course, set the school record in the cross country meet again at 19 minutes and 38 seconds, so that's positive, and she's back. And then you can't forget soccer. 13-0-1 in the regular season.
Best record in that school's ever had.
Best record in school history. Scored the most goals in school history, 102 or something like that. And Logan Newcomb broke the scoring record, and Jake Alkelman, I believe, broke the assist record. And unfortunately, we had a tough loss in the sectional 2-1 on a kind of a questionable call.
Yes.
But that's sports. Girls golf had a good year, and you just go down the line. I'm sure football, for the first time since 20 years, we had a winning season, and the most wins since 1991. And they're all positives. I mean, you get your school started off on that with those. It just kind of helps schools seem to go a little bit better, spirits a little higher, and hopefully it'll carry over into the winter season, and the kids will come to the bowl and pack the house and support our kids.
I know you want to congratulate all the people involved in that sports program, the coaches and all the players and the parents. That's a big thing, and the fans. I thought good turnout, and I even saw these guys at some of the games. So I know they were there to support these kids, because some of those players are in their basketball program right now.
Sure, it's great to have the support that our athletic programs have, and and football's not had a lot of winning seasons, but our fan base is still great. And, I'm not sure people who don't have kids in sports realize that the efforts and the commitments by not only the kids but the parents of
That's true.
getting them there at 6 o'clock in the morning or pick them up at 8 o'clock at night, and they're trying to juggle their work schedules and everything else. And it's great to have people like that are willing to let their kids be a part of things and take pride in being a part of them with them and enjoy their sports. And you know, some of them relive their lives through those kids as they watch them play. But,
that's what makes the programs work.
We're happy with the support that we get, and we hope it continues.
Connersville joins a new conference in a year. There'll be some schedule changes. Can you talk about it a little bit?
Well, I think we're pretty good. We've picked up everybody that we have to have in all the sports, trying to do little tweaks and turns. You know, we've had to pick Lawrenceburg up in quite a few sports. Most of the other schools, we've played in many of the sports.
Yes.
Of course, we had to pick some up in football. We'll have 7 conference games, 4 of which will count in the conference, plus we're going to play Jay County still, and we're going to open with Richmond next year. Boys soccer, girls soccer, and boys and girls basketball, you'll play each team in the conference 1 time. In softball, baseball, and volleyball, you'll play each school in the conference 2 times. So there'll be some schedule changes, some new teams on, some old teams off, and hopefully it's a good rival for us. Most of the people are local, and we've had good battles with them in the past, and for us it's a great fit. Plus, we're just excited to be in the conference again where our kids got something to compete for. And, you know, there's something about being the conference champion. You can hold that trophy or get that plaque or get that patch, and it goes a long way, and instead of just playing 19 games and looking forward to the sectional. So
the conference has 6 members right now, and they are, can you tell us?
Yeah, there's Lawrenceburg, South Dearborn,
Okay.
Franklin County, Batesville, Greensburg, East Central, and then us and Rushville are
Right,
joining
they're the
next
2
year.
new members. Right. What about basketball? What will happen to that schedule?
Well, for the boys, I think we only had to pick up Lawrenceburg, if I remember correctly, and the girls had to pick up Greensburg and Lawrenceburg. So we were pretty much set, but
This will be the last year we play Lincoln and Hagerstown, and then their place will come on Batesville and Lawrenceburg on our schedule.
Yes.
And that's the only changes that I'm aware of right now.
Okay. I thought Batesville was one of the teams. In Greensburg, we meet them in basketball.
We play them in January. Yeah, we play them
not
right
in
after
football. Is that right?
New Year's.
no, we don't play them in football now. But next year we will play them.
That's
in
what I
football.
thought. Yes. Right. Well, as you say, it'll give the guys and gals something to shoot for, a conference championship. That'll be great.
It's been a while since we've had one of those.
Season tickets are still available for the 17 girls and boys games. Is that right?
Until next Tuesday. And then
Okay.
after next Tuesday, then we'll just sell them at the door. But yes, you can still pick up season tickets at the athletic office from 7:30 to 4 o'clock.
Now, is there a savings if they buy a season ticket?
It's $50 for adults, and I'm going to say $45, I believe, for the students.
Well, that's well under what the single admission charge
Sure, it's
is.
$5 a night, so if you attend all the
Sure.
9 boys home games and 8 girls home games this year, so that's $85 if you pay at the door and $50 if you buy them ahead of time.
So
But
it's a big savings.
you can buy an all-sports ticket in June and July of next year for $50, and you can go to all the sports for $50.
Okay.
So
Sounds like a bargain.
It is a great bargain.
Speaking of the bowl, we had a water problem a year ago. Is that ever serviced again, or has it been taken care of? Have they ever determined what caused it, or what?
I don't think they've ever really truly determined the cause.
Okay.
We've had some floor people to look at the floor. Most of it's in good shape. There's still a little extra moisture content on the north end of the floor where the biggest area of water content of the
Yes.
floor was at. Not bad. We don't have any more rippling of the floor right
Good.
now. Question is whether we can, been told we can't shave it down any longer, so now it's a matter of what we're going to do with what's under there, and you can't really put a new floor down until you figure out why the old floor had water under it. So the problem with the floor is no easy way to get it in, there's no easy way to get it out, so you got to carry it up and down. So we're going to get through the season, and then we'll reevaluate, I'm sure, as the season is over, and see where we're going to go from here.
We've got a couple of fundraisers for each of you guys. I think can you talk about them? Kerry, when's yours?
Friday night, we've got a chicken dinner, 4:30, 7 o'clock there at the Connersville Middle School cafeteria. This will be I think the 4th year we've done one every year. It's been really good, and I'm not just saying that. The food is good, and it's to raise funds for our basketball program, our travel gear. We eat on the road after away games, and you know, just to cover our expenses.
Sure.
But it is a good product that we put out there, and anybody that's interested in an excellent chicken dinner Friday night, 4:30 to 7 o'clock, we'll be serving.
Okay. Michael, what's your fundraiser?
Well, actually, next Wednesday when the boys open up at home, we're going to try a pancake dinner.
Okay.
And our girls are selling tickets right now for that. And again, anyone can walk up at the door, and $5 for all-you-can-eat pancakes and $3 for children. And we thought we would try that this year. And as Coach said, that we go through a lot of money. And this year we got new uniforms, and Mr. Duncan was able to help with that out of the athletic department. But we agreed to help back with that a little bit so we could get 2 sets at once. And you look at travel pants and sweatshirts and T-shirts and food. It really adds up. And you're looking. We go through easily, probably average $5,000 or $6,000 a year. And so we do all the fundraising to take care of that ourselves, and so we don't have to ask for much at all from the school.
Good.
Fran, I'd like to add, we do have carryouts available, so if people are at work and they're on their lunch break, they can get in, get out pretty quickly. We'd work with them, but we do have carryouts available.
That's good to know.
Yep.
That's great. Thanks, Kerry. Mike, we've got a feeder program you call the HEAT program. Tell us about that.
We started that many years ago. A few parents got that started. They just wanted their daughters basically to play beyond the local Boys and Girls Club, and they started that organization. We have our own bylaws, have their own separate fundraising, but it's basically just a little bit of an extension from the Boys and Girls Club, where they go out and they travel. We've had teams the past couple of years go to Indianapolis or Franklin and play in a league up there in the fall and the winter. And right now we have a 6th grade team that has 10 girls on it, and then we have a combo 3rd and 4th grade team that has 10 or 11 girls on that one. And we're playing in the Richmond League. And we play either at Richmond, Selma, and last weekend we played at Muncie Central. So we've got at least 20 girls that are involved in that right now, and we almost had another 5th and 6th grade team. We just came up short. I thought I was, going to have enough, but it's good to just be able to play a little bit better competition. Some girls that are more serious about basketball, and and it's enjoyment. After last season at Richmond, we took that team and we went and played in a couple tournaments, hosted a tournament here, and it just gives them a chance to play more games together and see different styles of basketball, and a very good opportunity for them.
Do you coach this team?
Well, unfortunately I am. My daughter is a 6th grader, and Monica Brown had coached them the last 2 years, and she just had, with her schedule, she's got boys playing. She just was missing too much of their things, and so I basically took them over last year to put them in some tournaments. And so right now I've got them. I don't really have much time for them, but I thought I am there on Sunday at the games anyway, then why not?
Sure.
So yeah, we're doing that, and then I'm very excited to have a former player of ours, Mindy Cooper, was wanting to get back into basketball, and she's got the 3rd and 4th grade girls. So we've told those younger girls and parents that you've got a good opportunity to learn from somebody that was a very nice player, and so that's very good for the young girls.
Well, these youngsters, 9, 10, and 11, is that the age?
Yeah, basically 11 and 12-year-olds, and then probably we're looking at 8, 9-year-olds for 3rd and 4th graders, and it's good that you don't have someone that's a parent. I mean, and I'm not knocking any parents by any means, but that's normally what you have, and of course, naturally, their interest is with, their own son or daughter or whatever it is. She has no ties. She just wanted to coach basketball and teach, so that's a good opportunity.
Absolutely. Who helps you on your varsity squad? Who are your assistant coaches?
I have Brittany Reuter back as a varsity assistant. Daniel Hafner last year was our JV coach. He's back. We've got a new volunteer assistant right now. It's a new young teacher that was hired this year, J.D. Spivey. And then Rick Brown is our freshman coach, and our freshman girls are opening up right now. They're playing tonight.
Great.
Kerry, who helps you on your
We have the same staff basically back from last year. J.D. Miller and Sean Atkins are the varsity assistants. Chris Bottomley's our junior varsity coach, and then Tim Miller is our head freshman coach, and he's assisted by 2 former Spartans, and Matt Holbrook and Brandon Kramis.
Good. Good.
So we have continuity from last year, actually last couple of years, and Matt actually moved up from one of the middle school teams last year to help Tim this year.
Fine. Brent, how do you get all these games scheduled? I mean, that must be a tremendous job with freshmen, JVs.
Well, thank goodness there was already in place. So, but it takes a little bit of work, and Michael kind of alluded that we've been trying to work on the girls' schedule for a couple of years about switching it and turning it around, but it takes a little bit of time, and you want to make one move for your schedule, but then the other school's got to agree to it, and that may affect 2 or 3 other schools from their schedule. So, you know, everything doesn't always happen as fast as some people want it to happen, and they don't think we're working on it, and people behind the scenes are really, truly trying to fix your schedules. But, you know, it's just all those little details you pay attention to every day, and you get 10 or 11 phone calls or 4 or 5 emails about, can we do this, can we do that, and it's just a matter of time and putting phone calls in and doing the paperwork to make sure that everything's contracted out, which is by law you have to have a contract in place. So most of them are 2 or 4 years in length, and you just kind of hope that when that contract runs out, they're ready to play you again and you can just roll it over. So thank goodness we have a lot of good teams on our schedule, and they like our place. They love coming to the bowl to play, and we always have good competition for them. So it's been kind of easy to keep things rolling with some good quality teams to play. But we always kind of hope to tweak that a little bit here and there and get our schedule a little more beneficial for us instead of Michael being gone all of November, December, or playing 3 road games in a row. Kind of split that up a little bit as time goes on.
Well, I know it was mentioned several years ago we were going to join the conference, but it can't happen overnight, and a lot of people wondered why it took so long to put it in place. But as you pointed out, you had contracts for games and just had to wait until they were up.
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting all the logistics done for everybody. You're trying to coordinate with football, 8 schools, and you got to play everybody, and they've got contracts, and they got to get out of them, and then sometimes you have to pay to get out of them, and you don't want to have to do that, so you got to get an agreement with both schools that you're willing to drop. So it just takes a little bit of time to build the schedule up and get everything into place, and then after you get it in place, then it's just a matter of moving it and balancing it so that you can get it how you really like to have your schedules.
Gary, between the holidays again, you're in the Obwetic tournament at Richmond, play Tipton. They have ball games all day and all afternoon. And if you're a high school basketball junkie and can't get your fix on Friday night with girls and boys, varsity and JV games, that's a place to go, I guess.
It's basketball enthusiast paradise. We'll play 4 games in 3 days. We'll play 1 on day 1, then 2 on day 2, and then finish up on day 3 with the 4th game. And as you mentioned, we drew Tipton out of the chute, so it's always been good competition over there, and that's one of the reasons that we've gone over there. Also, it's local enough that we don't have to spend a night in hotel rooms. But looking forward to playing Tipton. We played them 2 years ago, our first year over there, and they beat us in a close game, and they were really good. Last year they were there. We didn't get a chance to play them, and I know they've got a kid back that's already committed to go to the University of St. Louis and play for Rick Majerus out there. He's about 6'5", 6'6", nice player. I remember him from 2 years ago. So, and then, fortunate enough to win. It looked like it was Columbus North, and I forget who they play, but they won it last year. So there might be a second-round matchup against last year's WEDIG tournament champion, and they're a very nice basketball team. So just really good competition, and also it's people we don't normally see in this part of the state. There's some teams from out of state that come in. Last year we played a team out of Louisville, and there's teams from Tennessee, and this year there's a school from Pennsylvania coming in.
Right, I've got the pairings here. Richmond and Indianapolis Tindley play, Jennings County and Rock Creek Academy, Guerin Catholic and Portage, East Central and Mount Lebanon from Pennsylvania.
That's Pennsylvania,
right?
Yep.
Jeffersonville and Indianapolis Metro. I don't know what.
Metro was state champs 2 years ago. Guerin was state champs last year. Jeffersonville's Jeffersonville. So yeah.
Columbus North and Arlington play, and Floyd Central and Indianapolis Chittard. 32 games, 16 teams play over 3 days.
Yeah.
So
a lot of basketball.
As you say, if you want to see basketball, it's on December 27th, 28th, and 29th.
The thing I like about it is it's quick turnaround. You have to get ready to play another game, and it kind of replicates what you have to do to win a sectional on a Friday, Saturday night. Now it's 4 and 3 instead of 2 and 2, but you have to be prepared and organized, and it gives you opportunities not only for the coaches but for the players to be able to turn around and play like that again.
Sure. Brent, I don't know if you can confirm it or not, but I believe the semi-state will be played there this year. The regional is at Marion, and I think the semi-state's in Richmond, I believe.
Yeah, I think I read that today.
Right, so Kerry, nothing would make you happier than playing some games in Tierman Center on
I saw what
March.
you're talking about, Fran, and I guess we lost Hinkle as the regional site, and they're going to play that at Southport, if I remember seeing it right. And then they've already committed the semi-state to Richmond.
Yes,
so
I
yeah,
thought it was.
we did lose Hinkle, but would be close to home at Richmond.
Oh well, would that be super? Michael, you play a tournament during the holidays. You go down along the river somewhere, and what the heck's going on down there?
I think this will be our 7th or 8th year that we've been going down there to Hanover, southwestern Hanover. Yeah. And, like Coach said, what I like about it is, number one, you just kind of get away, from Connersville a little bit. You see some teams that you normally wouldn't see. We go south and see more teams from down south, but we also have McCutcheon from Lafayette there. We have Fishers from Indianapolis. We've had a couple other teams from Indianapolis in the past. Columbus East is down there. And so you get to see a lot of different competition. Like Coach mentioned too, I like playing 2 games in one day. My goal every year is to win that sectional. So if you get in that regional, you're going to play in the morning and the evening. So I want to say, when we get to that point, we've already been there, we've already done that. You know what it feels like. And I think it's good for us just to continue to play over Christmas break. If you don't have those games there, you could have a 2-week layoff, and that's tough. That's a long time when you're in the middle of the season. So I just think it keeps you in tune and keeps you going. And then I try to still give them a break somewhat over Christmas break, give some days off, but it may not be a long stretch. But take a day off, come back practice a day, take 2 days off, and sometimes you just deal with the Christmas and the layover. Sometimes it depends how it falls. Like this year, with Christmas being on Tuesday, I don't know what I would do Saturday morning. We're going to have Sunday off, Monday off, Tuesday off, So, but, it's nice to get away and continue to play.
Kerry, I know that was a concern of yours before you got into that tournament of the long layoff between the holidays. I mean, I know that worried you a little bit.
Our last game before the Christmas break is Winchester now, and that was added just last year, and that's like I want to say the 18th.
I think.
And then we didn't play again until January the 6th, which is Greensburg. So it was a long layoff. So we like the idea of getting in a tournament. And I think it's different probably with different teams, but I think the kids we have now, they want to play. They don't want all that time off over Christmas break. I remember it used to be Christmas break. You gave them a lot of time off, and we tried to give them Mondays off after we've had double weekends in January or February, to try to give them back some of those days to rest up, because I do believe it's a long season. It's important that they get some rest. But what we used to give them in big chunks over Christmas, now we dole out in smaller parcels.
Do you fellas get tapes from the other games that you're about to play, or how do you know what to expect when a team comes in? Or do you have people that go scout for you, or how does that work?
I wish there was more people to go scout. They're just, it's really not a burden, but it's just you get so busy because you're trying to coach your own team, then go scout, and it is very hectic at times. But yeah, we either get tape in or see people in person. I like to see everybody at least once because I don't think you can see everything on tape. Like, for example, how quick or how much speed a team has. But the things, you get from tape are their patterns or spots that kids like to shoot from, their offensive, sets that they run. But I think it's important to also see people play in person just from a quickness and an athleticism or strength standpoint even.
When do you share this with your players, what you know about the teams? Is this early in the week as you
a little bit throughout the course of the week, bits and pieces. We'll tailor our defensive scouting report, offensive scouting report. We'll work on breakdown drills to try to do what we want to do or take away something from them. But probably throwing it all together, usually they get a handwritten or typed scouting report the night before. And but most of it's done on the floor the night before. But we try to sprinkle in stuff throughout the week as we go.
Michael, do you handle it the same way?
Pretty much, yeah. And I'm just like, Coach, I want to see them live at least once. And sometimes you just can't. I mean, and sometimes you have to pick, and sometimes with the girls' schedule, it's you play somebody Tuesday, you play somebody Saturday or Wednesday, Saturday.
Sure.
So you got to choose who you go see sometimes. But other than that, yes, then I would have tape on everybody. Sometimes we sit down as a team and watch them. Sometimes I don't. You know, sometimes
Okay.
what I think the girls need or what they don't need.
Okay.
And again, we give them a scouting report. I normally do it the day of on paper. I may show it to them beforehand, but I'll keep it until we get on the bus. And then I'll give it to them then. And that's, you know, what they look at on the way. And then we'll discuss it once we get there more in depth. And then what's new this year is we've got a software that you can upload game film on and share it. So I've already had 2 or 3 coaches request who we've played, like Mount Vernon. They wanted me to put it, do you have this program, and upload it so then they can watch it and we don't have to send DVDs in the mail anymore. So a lot more schools are starting to get that.
Technology is a wonderful thing.
Yes, it is, as long as you have the time to figure it out.
Tell me about a typical practice, Michael. What do you guys work on? I'm sure you run a lot from the way the kids have to go up and down the floor.
Well, we do, but I want to try to get the conditioning through our drills. I don't want to have the last 20 minutes of practice to be conditioning or running. I want them to go hard in everything we're doing for 2 hours, and then I don't think we should have to run much after that. But, you know, most typically a lot of fundamentals, a lot of, I guess, basic fundamentals, ball handling, passing. I work a lot on shooting, and we try to get as much as that in the first part of practice, the first 30 minutes to maybe 45 minutes to an hour. And then after that, we'll go into our, basically right into offense, whatever we're wanting to go against, whoever we're playing that week. And then I want to end up more on defensive end. You know, and when I say I'm working on offense, we're working defense too. But, you know, we spend a lot of time on the fundamentals and breakdown drills, defensive drills, rebounding drills. Like I said, I spend a lot of time on shooting. So that's about 2 hours worth right there easily, you know. And even when I have the 6th graders, you know, if I'm going to practice an hour, I'm probably doing 40 minutes of nothing but ball handling, shooting, and just fundamentals with them.
What kind of offense are you going to use a lot this year?
What we've done in the past couple of years, basically, I mean, with the ball handlers that we have, the athletes we have, I just want to spread the floor out a lot. We get a lot of ball screens, and I just want them to create. We had this conversation just last night in the locker room a lot. You know, why do we do the certain things that I do in practice? Why do we run these certain drills? And my thing is I want them to learn how to play basketball. It's not a set pattern offense where you have to be at this spot and you have to screen this person. You know, learn how to play. You know, and you read the defense. And I want them to understand that. You know, one of the shooting drills we do quite often is basically, I know Carey runs the motion offense a lot, so I know he's going over that. Is, you know, you read the defense and how do you come off your screens? Why do you pop straight off the screen? Why would you fade? You know, and then just understand the game of basketball and just play.
Do you like the 3-guard offense? Do you use that much?
I use a lot of 5-guard offense. We don't haven't had much, you know, size.
Yeah,
I'm playing 4 guards almost all the time.
I see. Yeah,
now they may have to go inside and play what we would say a typical post position in certain offensive sets that we may have, but you know, they are a guard and we're not posting them up. We're using them in that typical set if we needed someone.
Well, that takes good ball handlers.
Yes, and we've been very lucky to have that over the past few years. And you know, I think even after this year, when we lose some of the ball handling we have, that we'll still have good ball handling. And like I said, I think that's where we got to spend a lot of our time. The girls' game has changed so much. When you know, you go back 15 years ago, when April McDevitt played, there was a lot of teams that had 1 good player, 2 good players, and now the good teams have 5 good players. And they bring someone else off the bench. I mean, it's really changed to the point of the more ball handlers you have, girls are able to pass, shoot, and dribble. You know, I think you can put together a good team.
Carey, what about your offense? What do you like?
Well, we run motion offense, and we run some sets for the kids as well, just trying to get the ball in specific spots where we want it, in kids' hands where we think they've got an advantage. But most of the time we're running some kind of a motion offense. Whether it's 4 out or 5 out or 3 out, it doesn't make any difference. The important thing is, like Michael's already said, if you teach your kids how to play, the defense is always wrong. It doesn't make any difference. I'm going to curl, I'm going to straight cut, or I'm going to fade, and that's depending on what the defense does, and they're always going to be wrong. But obviously, if it was that easy, then everybody could do it. So, but that's the thinking going into it, is just teach the kids how to play, and then it doesn't make any difference. I think plays can be defended, but players can't be. And I want all of our kids to be able to pass, shoot, and dribble, every single one of them, and that's why we spend time on our skills in practice and in the off season.
Are they looking pretty good right now in those categories?
Yeah, we are. It's just, it's not easy, but I still believe if I know, and if most coaches know what you're going to run, there's a pretty good chance that they can set their defense up to stop it. But if they don't know what you're going to run and you teach your kids how to play, I think you're much harder to play against.
What are the kids eligible for? I know you can't start organized practice, till November or something for you guys? And
yeah, the girls start 2 weeks before us.
Right.
They get a 2-week jump on us. I can't remember our first date. I want to say it was November 5th, Fran. November 5th. But this, counting scrimmages, we've had 11 practices, because like last Saturday, we practiced, and then we came in and we did a little bit of shooting, and then we scrimmaged. So we got 2 in on last Saturday, and we'll get 2 participations in this Saturday as well. We'll come in and practice in the morning, and then we'll scrimmage Knightstown in the afternoon. So, I keep our schedules. I refer to them, send them to the middle school coaches, send them to some of the elementary coaches, so that they see what we're doing. If kids are capable, they can try to implement some of those drills. But we just try to build on where we're at, and hopefully by the end of the year we're doing these things better. And also I can go back and check the practice schedules, and maybe we've been light on some area, and we need to pick it up and spend some more time on something else.
Well, during the summer I see a lot of the players at Roberts Park on their own, so there's nothing wrong with that occurring to do.
No, this is a group of kids that we have now that they play a lot of basketball, and we'll leave our workouts, and they're going to go to Roberts Park, like you mentioned, and I think that's a good thing, and they're hanging out together, and I think that's something that the good teams have. They hang together, they bond together, and they spend a lot of time together, even outside of the gym, whether it's at Roberts Park or doing whatever.
How do you guys work around the practices? I know it must be a struggle. I mean, we've only got one Spartan Bowl, and so how do you alternate, or give us a typical?
We sat down back in October, Michael and I did, and whoever, we kind of worked from the back of the schedule, or the back of the week. Whoever plays on Friday or Saturday, they get the bowl, the early practice the night before they play, and then we just alternate early and late the rest of the week. And then we work with one another. If he's got a scout at night, we've worked together so that he went early so he could go scout, or vice versa. And that's nothing new. I mean, that's the only way I know how to do it. When I was at Rushville, we did the same thing. You sit down with the girls' coach, and you just map it out. And we've done the whole season, and we did it in two or three nights in October.
So early practice is what? Early morning practice.
Oh, well, we'll go sometimes before school if, that's the only thing we can do, and we'll go 6 to 7:30. But most of the time, one of us starts at 4:10, and they'll go till 6, anywhere from 6 to 6:30 early in the year, and then later in the year we'll back that off some. And so the second team is going either from 6 or 6:15 till 8 or 8:15, 8:30.
Either of you come from practice to the program tonight?
We were in the middle. We started practice about 6 o'clock tonight, and I came down. I left the floor right after 6:30, so I left it in good hands, and I'm sure they're doing a good job down there.
Okay, so I know it's exciting for the people when they see this program every year. They know basketball is just getting underway, and it's a good time. So I know that the fans are going to be very interested in the season this year, and especially with the veterans returning. I think they have high hopes.
Yeah, we return a lot of experience, and some of those kids, as I mentioned earlier, got experience as sophomores as well. Charles Peterson, Sean Davis, our two guards. Sean played freshman, sophomore, and junior varsity basketball. And then last year, Charles started a little bit and backed up Matt Gardner. We returned Blake Zimmerman, who played varsity as a sophomore and junior for his senior season. Dakota Carlin averaged double figures for his last year as a junior.
Yes.
Didn't play varsity as a sophomore, but undersized kid that if he was 2 inches taller, I think there'd be people knocking on his door wanting to come play to the next level. I mean, he's doing a really good job. And then Desmond gained valuable experience last year. Tyler Parsley, and then Malik even got to play. Malik Coles got to play at the end of the year last year. He actually, I want to say he was our second leading scorer in our sectional loss last year. So those kids all gained valuable experience. And then our eighth members, Timothy Billups, TJ1 Billups, and he had a real good summer for us, and we look for him to contribute and do a good job this year as well.
I was real impressed with the hustle of the youngsters last year. I really thought they played hard and played well and everything.
They do. You know, if we get beat, it's not because our kids haven't gone out and competed and played hard. You know, some nights it just wasn't meant to be. But I'm just blessed. I have good kids, and this is my 4th year here, and I really enjoy the kids that I get to work with.
Michael, can you tell us your roster, the girls that are on your team?
Hopefully I can remember them all right now.
I hate to put you on the spot here.
No, I got seniors, Tiara Huntsman, Kinsey Weston, and Ashley Wiley, and those 3 right now will be starting for us. I have juniors Morgan McQuarrie, Michaela Gaines, and Isla Stewart. And then I have sophomores Taylor Stephen and Courtney Phillips. And as of right now, the 2 sophomores are starting with the 3 seniors. And then I'm also dressing a sophomore in Lindsay Hackelman, and another junior in Kelsey Crawford. So dressing 10 right now.
Okay, good deal. What's the JV team look like?
We're loaded with some freshmen on there and sophomores. What's good right now is I had a lot of freshmen come out this year.
Good.
So we have 9 freshmen on the freshman team. And then I brought up, I think, 5 freshmen to the JV. And then I think I have like 3 or 4 more sophomores that are on there. It's going to take a little while. I mean, it's a big difference. I mean, a big jump from 8th grade to practicing now 2 hours a day, hard, 6 days a week, and then, you know, the competition level. You know, you're a freshman, and you're playing against other good freshmen, against good sophomores, and sometimes it depends if a program's really loaded. Could be some decent juniors on a JV team. So, you know, it's a big jump.
Yeah, well, you want to get those gals in training or experience, and you don't want to sit on the bench, so they play JV ball.
Exactly, and right now we're in a good situation where everybody's with that 3rd team. Everyone can get playing time.
That's good.
You know, and every year we're worried about, are we going to have enough for a freshman team? But that's not Connersville. That's every single school is going through that.
Sure.
And, you know, you know, Brent can probably tell us, but if we had 20 freshman games scheduled, we're probably down to 12 or 13 already.
We
So
lost at least 6 that I can think of off the top of our head. Not because of us, but just other teams that don't have enough girls to field them.
I see. Interesting.
Last year we lost 2 JV games. In fact, we have our freshman team playing a JV team this year.
Really?
Because they needed a game.
yeah.
Well, that says a lot for Connersville, I think.
Yeah, we have a lot of kids that come out and play, and that's the best thing about it. You know, it's good to be a great student, but most of our students that are athletes are good students. I told them at the fall award banquet that our average GPA for our high school athlete is 3.85.
That's excellent.
On a 4-point scale, so that's pretty solid.
Carrie, you have a scrimmage coming up, but have you made the final determination who your team members will be, or does a scrimmage help you reach a decision?
You know, our top 8's probably set. I wouldn't say that it's set in stone, but I think we have a top 8, and then there's a couple kids on the JV team that'll be looking to, you know, we've got 8 in that top rotation, but fouls, injury, things like that. There has to be people ready to step in, and whether it's just to finish a quarter or finish a half, or get a kid out because he's got 2 fouls and you don't want him to pick up his 3rd at the end of that quarter or before the halftime. We'll need to figure out who those kids are from the JV that are going to be our 9th and our 10th man that are going to fill that role, and it doesn't have to be the same kids every week. I like to sometimes just reward the kids who are doing the best, having the best week of practice, but it's also nice to know if you're that kid that's a responsibility that you'll have to fill on a consistent basis instead of it being someone else. But we're just playing the 9th and the 10th man position by ear right now, but it could change if a kid's doing that good a job and we feel like we need him and he can help us, then he could move up and someone could move down. I mean, you just never know how things will work out throughout the course of the season.
Yeah. Well, if they play well, they get rewarded.
Yeah.
Brent, I noticed on the schedule, South Bend St. Joseph's comes to Connersville in January. Is that a here and away. Michael, are you going to South Bend next year?
No, that was, we'd lost a couple teams and we were struggling to find someone to play. We had a couple teams that wanted to play us, but they wanted to play us on the road, and we just couldn't do that because that would only give us 7 home girls
Right,
games.
yeah, you have 8.
8's not good. It's nice to be 9 and 9. So I'd put a thing out on the IHSA website that we were looking for 1 year, 1 game only at our place. About 3 days later, they put out one that said needed 1 game, 1 year only on the road. So I called him. They asked how good we'd been, so I went back and researched the records between their school and our school, and we're within about 4 games of each other in the last 7 since Michael's been the head coach.
Okay.
And they said they were willing to drive, so they're coming January 5th. It'll be I believe it's a 3 o'clock start.
4:30, I think.
3 and 4:30.
So. Yeah.
That's the only thing that they asked,
So
to have
Sure,
it later in the
I can understand
afternoon
why, yeah, really.
and not late in the evening.
Sure.
And so we had no problem with that at all. So I think it'll be a very good game.
5-hour trip, I think.
So they're all excited. I'm excited to have them. Anybody
I
can come
guess.
down from the north and put them in the bowl and let them see what the real Indiana basketball gym looks like. We're happy to have them in.
It's about 3 hours and 30 minutes, Fran, because I drove up
that
to
what
watch
it is?
Zach Miller play this preseason. Bethel's right up there in South Bend, Mishawaka, and it was
Okay.
about 3 hours and 30 minutes is the trip.
Wow. How's Zach doing?
Oh, he's doing great.
Is he?
He was the freshman of the year in the conference last year, had a really good year, and he's got off to a good start this year. So just he's so far away. We took the team to watch him play once last year at Taylor. Up the road here north of Muncie, but that was as close as he got to us that we could go watch him. So that was the only time last year we got to watch him, and we'll try to take the kids again this year and watch him. But it was neat for our kids to see that. Those kids have aspirations to play at that next level and see what it's like, and it's neat for Zach to go out and represent us and do well.
Well, he was a top student and a top athlete. That's what you want.
Yeah, he's carrying on in both areas still.
Yeah. Brent, you talked about the academic standards at CHS. I know you're real pleased with that, and these guys have to be pleased with it too. That these guys and girls that play for them are on the honor roll very often.
Yeah, it's a great thing for us. It's a lot easier as an ex-coach knowing how simple things can be when you have kids that are really in tune in school, because they're also sometimes your better students on the floor and they listen better and they pick things up a little bit better. And I can't remember the exact number, but we had 96 kids last year that had a 4.0 or better that were athletes, and our 3 sport athletes are carrying about a 3.83, and you always hear that I can't do sports because my grades suffer. And if you look at over all of our athletes in the school, that's kind of they can kind of squelch that myth that you can't be a good athlete and a good student, because all of our students that are athletes are really good students. And that makes it great to deal with. You don't.
Oh, sure.
You don't have to worry about eligibility most of the time.
The IHSA has a minimum.
Yeah, the rule for the IHSA is we have 7 classes. They have to pass 70% of those, so they have to pass 5. Now, we at Connersville High School also add that if your grade point average drops below 2.0, you have to attend what we call study tables, which is 4 days a week at 7:25 in the morning, in order just to be able to stay on the team. You're eligible, but if you don't go to those, then you can't practice that day. And if there's a game, you can't play that night. And if you miss 3 of those, then you've made yourself ineligible from an academic standpoint. So I think that's a little bit of a deterrent for most of the kids. Most of them don't want to get to school at 7:25 in the morning when they don't have to really be there till 8:20. So, but you don't have to use it very often. That's a positive thing. I think right now we will only have, of our 200 plus athletes that we have for the winter, we only have 6 kids that would be somewhat in danger. So,
Well, that's quite a low percentage.
yeah,
I mean,
and we're pleased with that.
That
And
way
hopefully,
there's
our
many
goal is to be at 0. And I've talked to all 6 or so of those young people, and they understand that our goal is to be at 0 before December. So, they promised they'd be working on it.
Well, it's good that that's watched, and you guys are on top of it and everything. And
You have to remember, there are students first and athletes second, and
Sure.
the academics is going to carry most of them a lot further than life than their athletic ability is going to take them. And they have to keep that in perspective as a player and as a student.
if you'd like to talk to any of our guests, have a comment or a question, the numbers are on the screen, and I know they'd appreciate getting any kind of call from you. So feel free to give to call the studios here and talk to the guys. Let's go back to football a little bit. It was quite a season, and I think Mark Kirk deserves some credit for that, because he got most of these kids that were seniors this year, sophomores when he came to Connersville, and he seemed to start turning the program around. And I know Adam was very pleased when he came that what these fellows
Sure,
were
they
capable
had
of doing.
Mark did a good job of getting things set.
Yes.
Got the kids out to play. Got back to teaching some different type of fundamentals than what they were doing in the previous coaching. Not that was anything wrong, just a different style.
Sure.
And it helped that the class that he started with have stuck together. When I was at the awards banquet the other night that they put on, there's 18 seniors. And if you can get that core group of guys that'll stick it out and willing to pay that price, and trust me, I've been there coaching when we were 0-9 before the Ryan Lynch season. I went 7-2, and those kids, just like these group of 18, stuck it together.
Yes.
And they went through the thick and the thin, and you hope that the younger kids have fed off of that and understand the sacrifices that they've made. And some of them are three-sport athletes, so they're just not football players. And what they've said hopefully will be something that maybe we'll get the things going. It takes 2 or 3 good years of winning before those numbers really start to pick up. And I've seen the kids that aren't in a winter sport, they're already in the weight room. There's kids I've never seen before that all of a sudden are in the weight room. A couple 6'4", 6'5" kids that I didn't know existed in the school or in the weight room.
Sure.
So, those are great things. And the kids come in and they bought into Coach Kelly's system, and, he's gone through those times with us in the 90s when it was tough.
That's right.
And if you know anything about Adam and his family, he's just a great, solid person. And, the kids well respect him. And, he had a difficult time during the season, and the kids stuck together with him. And it's just a big family, and I think that carries over to elsewhere. And I think all of our athletes in all of our sports are just one big group of family. It doesn't matter if you're a basketball player, football player, wrestler, golfer, whatever. They all stick together. And those are the type of kids that need to do the things correctly for everything to change. And I think we've got that going right now, and we'll just hope that it continues.
Well, I think this encourages people to come out that happened before. It seems to me like that.
Winning is contagious.
Real good feel, right? Yeah.
Very contagious.
And Michael and Carrie, I know that you appreciate your players participating in the sports. I think you've pointed out that it helps them stay in condition, and it just it's a good thing.
Well, we've got 4 kids that played football this past fall, and I'm hoping they're bringing that winning attitude, that mentality. The thing I like about football is it makes your kids tougher and more physical. And if you're not going to be really big, I think it's important, or you're not going to have great athleticism. I think that's one of the things you can use to negate some of the more talented players that you play against. So I love kids that are hard-nosed and gritty and tough, and we want those kids playing in our basketball program as well as excelling on the football field.
When the officials meet with the captains, co-captains before a game, what do they talk about? The fans have often wondered what's going on with these conferences. And Michael, what do they talk about?
I think for the most part, if there's just any new rule changes or anything, emphasis that they want to stress to the girls, are you legally equipped? And that's more on the girls' side of it. No bobby pins, no jewelry, those types of things. You talk to your team. You talk to your team. Who's the speaking captain? If you have a problem, come and ask us. They just want to communicate with them and let them know that we're here to work for you. Let's keep things on the good side, and it's pretty short and sweet, really. Not a whole lot to it.
Sportsmanship, I think, is emphasized, and I think the officials would rather have your team captains if there is a problem with one of your teammates. I think they would like, and that's what they try to impart upon the captains, is you take care of it, because if I have to, then there might be a technical foul assessed. So that's one of the things I always take away from it, is that you are in control, you're the captain, you're the leader on the floor, and if someone's not doing something they're supposed to be doing, get it taken care of. Otherwise, the officials will, and that'll cost the team.
I see. Speaking of the officials, Brent, do you have all of them scheduled for the season, or?
Yeah, when I stepped out of my old desk, all the girls officials for this year are scheduled for every sport, and basketball is at least 2 years out. And then when I stepped over to my new desk, they're all scheduled. Football is scheduled about 4 or 5 years out in advance, and I think basketball's 2 or 3 right now. So some of the lower levels you kind of can do a little bit easier, but You know, I'm kind of picky about which officials I really want to come in and officiate the varsity level. You want the best officials for your kids, and everybody wants to officiate, and if you don't get a chance to see them all, it's hard to know. So we kind of get a little cautious about who we hire and just kind of get the best ones we can so that the games and everything's taken care of. And I think we've got it narrowed down to a pretty good select group right now, but we're not opposed to opening it up, and we do, but it's just not going to be open to anybody and everybody.
You have a tremendous responsibility in being the athletic director. Who helps you? I mean, you must have some pretty good help.
Well, you know, Pam and Jeannie decided to take the nice
That's
road
right,
out. And, I get to talk to them every now and then, and I actually talked to Pam yesterday, and she said, I got to use your Cheesecake Factory gift card I got for Christmas last year. And I said, yeah, the best thing about it was a Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock in the daytime you got to use it. She started laughing at me. But right now, Wendy Sargent is our new athletic secretary.
Okay.
You know, if anybody knows Wendy, she's worked at the prosecutor's office for the last 10 years, and her husband Scott's our baseball coach. And then Shane Russell is our assistant athletic director, and Shane is an elementary school PE teacher at Grandview and Maplewood. And this is Shane's first year to this, and he helped us last year in the office when Dr. Flowers got sick. He has his principal's license, so he kind of stepped in and helped us up at the high school last year in the office part of it.
Do they have specific duties? Does he have? What's his primary job?
Shane's pretty much in charge of all the women's sports at the high school,
I see.
Plus swimming and track. And then I take care of the boys and cross country. And then, of course, Wendy does all the things that we need her to do and more, and the scheduling and the contracts. And, you know, we're 49 years stepped out as experience, and now there's 4 of it between the 3 of us. So. But things are going well, and they've both done a really good job, and I'm happy to be a part of them with the athletic department with them.
The AD and his assistants, they work how many months out of the year? You guys don't take the summer off like teachers do you?
No, I have a 240-day contract. So in teaching role, the teachers get paid 185 days,
Okay.
and so Wendy works until end of school and then a couple weeks after, and she comes in a couple weeks early. And of course, Shane still teaches 5 classes. He teaches all day, and then he comes back to the office at about, depending on the day, anywhere from 2:30 to 3:05 when he shows up, and then he stays and does whatever we need to do until the events are over at night. In fact, he's probably just now finishing up the freshman girls game. So it becomes a long day sometimes, but it's worth it.
Well, we appreciate here at TV3 the cooperation you guys give us. It's just great. It makes the games a lot of fun that we get to do and everything. And it takes 7 people to put on a basketball game, but we work together, and with your cooperation, it really makes for an interesting evening. And we try to advertise what's going on, and with our games, we hope it will interest some folks to come to the game in person, and that's what we would like to do.
Sure, it'd always be great to have all of our venues packed every night.
Wouldn't it though?
But we appreciate everything you guys do for the high school and showing our games on the TV, and even if they're tape delayed, that's great. And the people that can't get out can get a chance to see each of every sport.
Yeah.
I know you make a great effort to get to every event or every different kind of event we offer.
As much as we can, yeah. Speaking of the ball games, it takes a lot more to put the games on. I mean, you got the band, the cheerleaders, all those people are involved in a ball game. It's not just us teams, and I know they deserve a lot of credit.
Sure, they do a great job as a group of collectively knowing what each other's doing. And of course, we have new band directors this year, so our cheerleading coach and our Spartan coach is kind of breaking him in on what he got to have done and ready to go for the ball game. So, and he'll do a great job. Just as we as athletic directors say, if we see 2 teams and all of our workers, we're happy. Everything else we can take care of as it goes along. So it's just those little logistics that you like to have taken care of that nobody knows you do behind the scene, and that's happy with it, and that's great with me.
Brent, I want to thank you for appearing on tonight's show.
Thanks for having me.
Brent Duncan, athletic director. Carrie Brown is the boys' coach.
Thank you.
Michael Thompson, the girls' coach. It's always a pleasure to have you guys here on the program. And I know the fans are interested in hearing from you and to find out that you really are human guys. You're not mean guys. You're nice. You're a bunch of nice guys. So hopefully they'll come and watch all the kids in their games.
I hope they show up and support the kids.
Thanks everybody for watching tonight, and the Christmas show coming up on December 20th. That'll be on Connersville Speaks. We hope that you will tune in that night. For this evening's program, Fran Chomel saying good night, and thanks for listening and watching.